New at 10, the sex offender registry was put in place so you could know exactly where convicted sexual predators live.
But when On Your Side investigator Kelly Raybon started sifting through the data, she found discrepancies that will have you questioning whether you can trust the effectiveness of the registry.
Tennessee sex offenders are easy to find online, but a closer look at the pictures and addresses make it hard to find some offenders in the real world.
Sex offenders have a fairly high rate of recidivism. They will recommit their crimes.
The Tennessee Sex Offender Registry was created by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation to let people know where sex offenders live.
Putting that information out to the public is a way to try to help keep the public safe.
TBI spokesperson Kristen Helm says sex offenders are supposed to report to local law enforcement, providing crucial information like a home address.
The information that they have is only as good as what the sex offenders can provide to them at the time.
But the WREG On Your Side investigators uncovered problems in the sex offender registry, leaving some offenders virtually anonymous and unaccounted for. We start with Willie Spraggins. He was convicted of rape in 2002. The registry says he lives at 201 Poplar, 10th floor, room 1001.
Hi, I was trying to find Willie Spraggins.
He definitely doesn't live in this Shelby County Sheriff's Department office.
He lists this as his address,
leaving the public wondering where Willie Spraggins really lives.
Does anybody live here?
Spraggins isn't the only sex offender with a questionable address. Leotha Powell says he lives here, inside a P.O. box.
I just wonder how does something like that happen.
According to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, Powell has never registered with the Memphis police like he was supposed to. Powell was arrested in 2006 and gave an address on Doubletree Road. But that address never made it onto the registry.
It seems as though it's not very important if they would just overlook something like that. And yes, it is frightening.
It's not on the burden of the agency to track this person. It's the burden in Tennessee law is actually on the sex offender to report accurate information.
Helms says local agencies have to rely on whatever information sex offenders provide.
You're not going to know where everybody is all the time, any given minute.
Which makes guys like convicted child rapist Raymond Macklin tough to track. He says he's homeless.
That is allowed under Tennessee law. They are supposed to report to their local law enforcement agency every month.
Macklin hasn't checked in more than a year. Memphis police haven't issued a warrant for his arrest, even though Macklin missed his last 13 registrations.
I feel unsafe and I feel afraid.
But homeless isn't the only vague address. For some sex offenders, their addresses are unknown. And good luck noticing some of these guys if they're ever in your neighborhood.
Do you recognize this guy?
No, I do not.
His name is Eli Jones. He was convicted of 2 counts of sexual battery. There's no picture of him on the registry, but that doesn't mean one doesn't exist. We easily found Jones's mugshot from a 2004 arrest.
Common sense tells me that that photograph would be better than no photograph, certainly.
State Senator Mark Norris says after talking to the WREG On Your Side investigators, Tennessee's sex offender registry needs to be tweaked.
The list should be reviewed so that if there are gaps, and you have some here, that there be some effort made to try and fill them.
From adding photographs to finding legitimate addresses, Norris thinks the more accurate information, the better.
Ideally, you're looking to match photographs with names with residential addresses so that folks can look to see in their neighborhood if any of these sex offenders are resident.
Norris cautions the registry is only one tool in keeping you and your family safe.
No one should ever rely exclusively on this tool or any tool like it. It's better than having none at all, but it's not perfect.
Senator Norris has sent a letter to the director of the TBI bringing up the issues we've uncovered with the sex offender registry. Now here's your chance to help. Go online to WREG.com where we've compiled a list of sex offenders. See if you recognize any names, faces, or know a different address. For the On Your Side investigators, Kelly Raybon, WREG News Channel 3.
Now to a developing story. The Sex Offender Registry is supposed to be an easy tool to help keep you and your family safe. Last month, an On Your Side investigation uncovered problems in the system.
But has anything been done to fix it? WREG News Channel 3 investigator Kelly Raybon is here with the latest.
Shannon Massey is a Mid-South mom and a mother of 4.
I'm very protective of my sons. Their well-being is my #1 priority.
Relying on tools like the Sex Offender Registry to keep an eye on who's in her neighborhood.
I need to know who's living in my area or who's next to my kid's school.
But when the WREG On Your Side investigators told her about the problems with the Tennessee Sex Offender Registry,
it's not doing me any good if it's not accurate.
In July, we alerted you to 4 sex offenders with a questionable address or no photograph on the registry. Authorities didn't know where they were, so we tracked the offenders. Raymond Macklin was a homeless sex offender who was deceased, and after our investigation was taken off the registry.
I want my dad off the sex offender list.
Marquita Jones says her father Eli died 2 years ago, but he's still on the registry without a photograph or an address. It even says he checked in February of this year.
He's been deceased ever since August the 13th of 2008, so how can he update anything?
Up until I was on TV, no one said anything about me being a non-registered sex offender.
After seeing our story, Leotha Powell contacted us, saying he's not a sex offender, although he was convicted of sexual battery in 1998.
So your lawyer, the judge, even your probation and parole officer, no one told you you needed to register?
No one.
A source says Powell was registering with the TBI through mailings as of 2003. But when the system changed, making local authorities responsible for local sex offenders, Powell didn't register with Memphis police.
We're just trying to figure out where he is.
Powell isn't the only one who fell through the cracks. Willie Spraggins did too.
He probably in the mission somewhere.
You think he's homeless?
He is homeless.
A relative says Spraggins isn't at 201 Poplar, 10th floor, room 1001, like the registry says.
Well, that's their mistake. That's what they put.
We found Spraggins in a different part of the building, in the Shelby County Jail on drug charges. And it's not the first time he's been there.
He go to jail, whoever he got, his friends or whatever, pay the money, and he get out for child support.
Child support have my address. Like I said, DHS have my address. The Social Security office have my address. I've been downtown in court several times on different occasions about different matters.
Leotha Powell and Willie Spraggins have both been through government agencies, but no red flag went up to say they weren't registering as sex offenders like they were supposed to.
Clearly, something wrong with the system. You know, there should be some way to streamline that in the computer system to where that's caught.
Right now, that's not happening, leaving moms like Shannon Massey relying on databases that are out of date.
It doesn't make me feel good to know that there's people out there who we don't know, we can't keep track of them.
That was Kelly Raybon reporting. Leotha Powell registered as a sex offender after our story first aired, though he still claims he is not a sex offender and was never hiding from anyone. And if any law enforcement would like to register Willie Spraggins, he is at 201 Poplar right now and has a court date on the 30th.